Good morning, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, State Senate Democratic leader Jeff Woodburn says he'll fight domestic violence charges in court. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Charges against Senator Woodburn detailing biting, hitting, and breaking into the home of an alleged female victim.
4 counts of simple assault, 2 counts of the crime of domestic violence, 2 counts of criminal mischief, and 1 count of criminal trespass.
Allegations contain reports that Woodburn threw water in a cup in the victim's face, then threw the cup at her. He's also accused of hitting her in the stomach and biting her on several occasions, leaving bruises. Another allegation claims the senator kicked in the door to the victim's home on Christmas Eve last year.
There's going to be a criminal bail protective order in place that prohibits contact with the victim and perhaps those around the victim as well.
Woodburn represents the North Country and is currently in his 3rd term, seeking his 4th. Now his colleagues and the governor are calling on him to step down. Sununu saying Senator Woodburn's morally reprehensible, violent behavior has no place in public service or anywhere else. The congressional delegation and members of his party echoing the call, except for Senator Lou D'Alessandro, who says he's concerned about it and Woodburn deserves his day in court. Supporters of survivors of domestic violence also calling for the protection of the victim and her identity.
Victims often fear that public scrutiny, so we stand with this victim and all victims who want to talk about what happened to them, who are seeking justice.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Woman says she was dragged from car beaten in road rage incident. Let's take a listen to the video from WCVB Boston.
At Recovering Champions, we are passionate about your care. When people see only despair in the opiate crisis, we see tremendous hope. People come to us for substance abuse treatment from all different backgrounds, all different.
Ben Maria, the road rage victim, is 36 years old and has multiple sclerosis. And while she is still too afraid to appear on camera, she tells our news partners at the Brockton Enterprise, "I was fighting for my life." Tonight, police are looking for this man driving a gold BMW SUV. The victim showing a broken arm and the scrapes and bruises from their violent encounter. Wednesday, late afternoon, at the corner of Brook and Bartlett Streets in Brockton. The victim's friend was driving when a black man in a BMW X5 cut them off and, according to her, started screaming that they were racist. The victim says she's Puerto Rican and that her female friend who was behind the wheel is black. As the man got more belligerent, the victim took out her cell phone and began recording. That really set him off. Walking around to the passenger side, the road rage victim says the man pulled her out of the car. He hit my head. He punched my chest. He dragged me like a rag doll. All the while she is screaming, "I am a mother. Someone please call 911. But she managed to fight back, hitting the man hard to the point he claimed she broke his jaw. The video and sound of the beating recorded on her cell phone even after the man threw it into the bushes. By the time her friend got out of the car to help, it was over. The 36-year-old woman, who suffers from MS, telling the Brockton Enterprise the man got back into his SUV and almost ran her over as he left. And amazingly enough, that woman still managed to get an image of the man's license plate, and again, according to the Enterprise, Police here have ID'd that suspect, but they are still searching for him. Live in Brockton, Jorge Quiroga, WCBB News in the 5.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we're following breaking news in Maine right now. Swimmer killed in boating crash on Demetrica Lake. A Lincolnville woman died from injuries sustained in a boating crash while she was swimming in Demetrius Lake, according to the Maine Warden Service. Christine McKellar, 32, was swimming with a friend when she was hit by a motorboat around 8:45 p.m. Thursday. The driver of the boat, Jonathan Roberts of Massachusetts, tried to help McKellar and brought her to shore where EMTs rendered aid. The Maine Warden Service is still investigating the incident. China loses status as world's second largest stock market aimed trade war with U.S. China's shares cede their rankings as the second largest stock market in the world to Japan, the Financial Times reported on Friday. We're about to get really nasty over the wall. Trump repeats shutdown threat. Let's take a listen to the video from ABC News.
Hiscox, tailored business insurance for the courageous.
The latest in a looming showdown between President Trump and Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Mueller is insisting on questioning the president about obstruction of justice, the same charges leveled against Bill Clinton and Richard Nixon. And sources tell ABC News that this latest communication has enraged the president, sparking his first direct call for Attorney General Jeff Sessions to shut down the investigation. Our senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega starts us off. Good morning, Cecilia.
George, good morning to you. This was among President Trump's most overt threats against the special counsel yet, and it is not just his critics who say this could amount to obstruction of justice. Some in his own party are now saying it is totally inappropriate for a sitting president to call for an end to an investigation into himself. This morning, sources tell ABC News President Trump was outraged after learning that among the topics Special Counsel Robert Mueller wants to question him about is obstruction of justice. The president recently learned about the new development, and sources say it enraged him so it prompted this extraordinary tweet that critics say could amount to obstruction. The president writing, Attorney General Jeff Sessions should stop this rigged witch hunt right now before it continues to stain our country any further. That sent his legal team into immediate damage control mode.
He used the word should, he didn't use the word must, and there was no presidential directive that followed it. They didn't direct him to do it, and he's not going to direct him to do it.
The tweet outraged even some in the president's own party. Maine Senator Susan Collins calling it totally inappropriate, saying the president should not be talking about the investigation at all. The top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee was blunt. This is an attempt to obstruct justice, hiding in plain sight. In the past, aides have insisted that the president's tweets are official White House policy. But Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says this one was just his opinion.
It's not an order, it's the president's opinion. The president is not obstructing, he's fighting back.
Negotiations over a sit-down between the president and special counsel have been ongoing for months. But now Mueller has indicated he wants to question the president both in writing and in person.
So will this interview actually ever happen? The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, said yesterday that the president still wants to sit down with Robert Mueller, but his lawyers are adamant they do not want this interview to happen. Giuliani says the legal team still cannot reach an agreement with the special counsel over just the ground rules. So while Mueller may want to ask about obstruction of justice, George, there is no indication that the president's team is going to agree to this.
Game of chicken right now. Okay, Cecilia, thanks very much. Let's bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. President's words in that tweet pretty clear. The Attorney General should stop this rigged witch hunt.
So there's no question this is an effort to undermine, undercut, impair, maybe hinder the investigation. Does that necessarily mean it's legal obstruction of justice? That's a question that Robert Mueller is going to have to assess.
The question is, how does this tweet fit into every other action of the president over the last year, year and a half?
Exactly. You don't, and they won't, look at this tweet in isolation. It won't just be, was that tweet obstruction of justice? The question will be, did that tweet in conjunction with all the other evidence they have, all the other actions the president's taken, all the other things he has done, does that together reach the level of obstruction of justice? And again, I think it's worth reminding people that most people do not expect that even if it does reach that level, that Robert Mueller would seek to indict the president.
He would send a report to
He would
Congress.
send a report to Congress because he's the president.
And of course, the impact of that would depend on when he sends that report to Congress, which Congress receives it.
Absolutely.
Which gets to the question now is, how long does Robert Mueller allow this back and forth, this endless 8-month negotiation between his side and the president to go on over the interview?
Let's just be clear. All we know about this alleged negotiation is through the Trump side. We don't know exactly, right, we don't know exactly what Mueller's saying or not saying in response. So how serious is this negotiation? Unclear. Robert Mueller's going to work on his timeline, not on the president's, not on Rudy Giuliani's. And at some point, if he feels that he's not going to get this interview to work, he'll move forward.
Not just his timeline, though, because we're heading towards an election. Early September seems to be his deadline for any real action before the election, isn't it?
You would think so, but again, you would hope that Robert Mueller is not working on an election timeline. I mean, he's got to think about it in the back of his head, but you also have to think that this is an investigation, and he has to move forward as he thinks appropriate, regardless of the election timeline.
Thanks very much.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.